The morning sun cast long shadows across Terra Nova University as Commander Jake Morrison walked through the main courtyard. Today was different from any other day in human history. Today marked the first time alien students would attend classes alongside humans. The Galactic Education Initiative had chosen Terra Nova as the pilot program location, and Jake felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Dr. Lisa Carter stood beside the landing platform, checking her tablet for the 100th time that morning. As the head of xenobiology at the university, she would be responsible for monitoring the health and well-being of their new students. The medical bay had been expanded and equipped with specialized equipment designed to handle 3 different alien species. She hoped it would be enough. The first transport ship descended from the cloudy sky with barely a whisper. Its sleek design reflected advanced technology far beyond anything humans currently possessed. Jake watched as the landing ramp extended and the first group of exchange students emerged. The Zephyrians walked with careful, measured steps, their crystalline bodies catching and refracting the morning light into beautiful rainbow patterns. Each stood nearly 7 feet tall, their transparent forms revealing complex geometric patterns that shifted and changed as they moved. Zara 7 led the Zephyrian delegation. Her voice carried the sound of wind chimes when she spoke through the universal translator device attached to her chest. She looked around the campus with what Jake interpreted as mild disappointment. The stone buildings and concrete pathways seemed primitive compared to the floating crystal cities of her homeworld. She had studied human architecture and found it lacking in both beauty and efficiency. The second transport arrived with a splash rather than a landing. The Narration ship required a specialized water-filled docking bay that the university had constructed specifically for this program. Bubbles emerged from the ship wearing a clear, water-filled suit that allowed her to breathe while moving on land. Her blue-green skin shimmered with scales that seemed to shift color depending on her mood. She moved with fluid grace, each step creating small ripples in her containment suit. Bubbles surveyed the dry campus environment with obvious concern. Her homeworld consisted entirely of vast oceans with floating cities beneath the waves. The sight of so much dry land made her uncomfortable, but she was determined to succeed in this exchange program. She had been chosen as the most adaptable of her species, though she still doubted whether she could survive in such an arid environment for an entire semester. The third and final transport touched down with a mechanical hiss. Stormwalker emerged wearing a complex containment suit that resembled a walking tornado made of metal and glass. His true form was gaseous, invisible to human eyes except for occasional flickers of electricity that danced through his containment chamber. The suit allowed him to maintain cohesion and communicate with solid beings, though he found the experience of being confined extremely uncomfortable. Stormwalker observed the humans with curiosity and mild amusement. His people existed as pure energy patterns in the upper atmosphere of gas giant planets. Physical matter was something they rarely encountered, and the idea of beings trapped in solid bodies seemed both fascinating and pitiable. He wondered how creatures so limited by physical form had managed to develop space travel. Professor Kevin Blake approached the group with a warm smile and open arms. As the director of the exchange program, he had spent months preparing for this moment. He welcomed each species in their native languages, though his pronunciation was admittedly poor. The universal translators helped bridge the communication gap, but cultural differences would take much longer to overcome. The orientation session took place in the university's largest lecture hall. Human students filled half the seats while the alien visitors occupied specially designed sections with appropriate environmental controls. Kevin explained the program structure, academic requirements, and cultural integration activities. He emphasized that all students, regardless of species, would participate in the same basic curriculum to ensure equal treatment and understanding. When Kevin mentioned the mandatory physical education requirement, several human students groaned good-naturedly. They were accustomed to Coach Danny Rodriguez's fitness classes and knew they would be working up a sweat twice a week. The alien students, however, showed no concern about this requirement. Physical activity seemed like a minor inconvenience compared to the intellectual challenges they expected to face. Zara 7 whispered to her fellow Zephyrians about how primitive human education must be if it still required physical movement. Her people had transcended such basic needs centuries ago through advanced technology. She assumed that human physical education would involve operating machinery or perhaps manipulating tools with basic motor functions. Bubbles found the concept of land-based physical activity puzzling but not threatening. Her people were excellent swimmers and could navigate three-dimensional underwater environments with ease. She imagined that human physical education would involve simple movements that her superior aquatic conditioning would make trivially easy. Stormwalker barely paid attention to the physical education discussion. His people existed as pure thought and energy, moving through space by willing themselves to different locations. The idea that solid beings needed special training to move their bodies seemed quaint and amusing. He expected to breeze through any physical requirements while focusing on more important academic pursuits. Dr. Lisa Carter administered basic health screenings to each alien student. The Zephyrians required careful handling to avoid causing fractures in their crystal matrix. The Nereidans needed constant hydration monitoring to prevent their breathing apparatus from failing. Stormwalker's containment suit required daily maintenance to ensure proper atmospheric pressure and electrical stability. The first week of classes proceeded smoothly. The alien students excelled in mathematics, theoretical physics, and advanced engineering courses. Their superior technology and different perspectives provided insights that amazed human professors and students alike. Several breakthrough discoveries emerged from collaborative projects between human and alien minds. Jake Morrison observed the interactions between species with growing optimism. Despite initial cultural barriers, friendships were beginning to form. Human students showed genuine interest in learning about alien worlds and technologies. The alien visitors, while still somewhat condescending about human limitations, appreciated the warmth and curiosity of their new classmates. The upcoming physical education classes were scheduled for the following Monday. Coach Rodriguez had prepared what he considered an extremely gentle introduction to human fitness activities. He planned to start with basic warm-up exercises that even the most out-of-shape human students could handle easily. The coach was excited to see how beings from other worlds would adapt to terrestrial physical training. None of the participants, human or alien, anticipated what was about to happen when three advanced alien species encountered the reality of human physical capabilities for the first time. Monday morning arrived with typical campus energy as students made their way to the gymnasium for physical education class. Coach Danny Rodriguez had arrived early to set up equipment and prepare for what he hoped would be a memorable first session with the alien exchange students. He had consulted with Dr. Lisa Carter about any special considerations, but both agreed that starting with basic human exercises would provide a good baseline for assessment. The gymnasium buzzed with excitement as human students gathered on one side while the three alien species took positions near the equipment storage area. Zara 7 stood with perfect posture, her crystalline form reflecting the overhead fluorescent lights in dazzling patterns. She had spent the weekend researching human physical education and remained confident that her superior physiology would make the experience effortless. Bubbles adjusted her water-filled breathing apparatus nervously. The gymnasium felt uncomfortably dry, and she had already requested permission to have a hydration station nearby in case of emergency. Her research into human land-based movements suggested that these primitive exercises would be simple swimming motions, performed without the benefit of water resistance. Stormwalker hovered slightly above the gymnasium floor in his containment suit. The electromagnetic fields that kept his gaseous form stable hummed quietly as he observed the human students stretching and preparing for class. He found their need for physical preparation amusing, assuming that beings with such limited forms would naturally move slowly and carefully. Coach Rodriguez blew his whistle to gather everyone's attention. He was a former military fitness instructor who had adapted his training methods for university students. His philosophy focused on building endurance and strength through progressive challenges, but he always started newcomers with gentle exercises to assess their capabilities. The coach explained that they would begin with basic warm-up exercises that every human learned in elementary school. 10 jumping jacks, some simple stretches, and a light jog around the gymnasium perimeter. He emphasized that this was just to get their blood flowing and prepare their muscles for more serious exercise later in the semester. Human students nodded and took their positions without concern. They had performed these same exercises thousands of times throughout their lives. For them, this warm-up routine was as natural as breathing. Several students chatted casually while stretching, treating the upcoming exercises as a minor inconvenience before the real class began. The alien students positioned themselves in the center of the gymnasium, ready to demonstrate their superior capabilities. Zara 7 calculated that her crystalline structure should easily handle any physical stress that could challenge these soft, fleshy humans. Bubbles checked her breathing apparatus one final time and flexed her scaled limbs. Stormwalker adjusted his containment suits, stabilizers, and prepared to show these earthbound creatures what true grace looked like. Coach Rodriguez counted down from 3 and blew his whistle to begin the first exercise. The human students immediately started their jumping jacks, their movements synchronized and effortless. Arms and legs moved in perfect coordination as they completed the first repetition. Then the second, then the third. Zara 7 attempted to mimic the movement, bringing her crystalline arms above her head while spreading her legs apart. The impact of landing sent shockwaves through her crystal matrix structure. She felt hairline fractures beginning to form in her lower extremities as the force of repeated impacts stressed her molecular bonds beyond their normal limits. By the fifth jumping jack, visible cracks appeared along Zara 7's leg structures. The other Zephyrian students watched in horror as their leader's perfect crystalline form began to develop stress fractures. She tried to continue the exercise, determined not to appear weak in front of the humans, but each landing sent sharp pain through her entire body. Bubbles faced different problems as she attempted the jumping motion. Her water-filled breathing suit sloshed violently with each movement, creating internal waves that disrupted her oxygen intake. The dry gymnasium air began pulling moisture from her breathing apparatus, faster than the recycling system could compensate. Her gills, designed for constant water flow, started burning as they dried out. The blue-green scales on Bubbles' skin began to lose their shimmer as dehydration set in. Her movements became sluggish and uncoordinated as her body diverted energy to maintaining basic life functions. She managed only 7 jumping jacks before her breathing apparatus started flashing warning lights. Stormwalker discovered that rapid physical movement created chaos within his containment suit. His gaseous form, normally stable and controlled, began swirling violently as the electromagnetic field struggled to maintain cohesion during the jarring motions. The suit's cooling system, designed for gentle floating movement, could not handle the heat generated by vigorous exercise. Warning alarms began sounding from Stormwalker's containment suit as internal pressure fluctuated wildly. His gaseous essence started expanding beyond the suit's capacity to contain, creating dangerous pressure buildups that threatened to rupture his protective barriers. Steam began venting from emergency release valves as his core temperature spiked beyond safe limits. The human students continued their jumping jacks without apparent effort, reaching the count of 10 while chatting about weekend plans and upcoming exams. They barely noticed the growing distress of their alien classmates, assuming that any initial awkwardness would resolve itself as the visitors adapted to human exercise techniques. Coach Rodriguez called for the stretching portion of the warm-up, but his attention was drawn to the alien students' obvious struggles. Zara 7 had stopped moving entirely, standing motionless as new cracks spread across her crystalline surface like a spiderweb. Her normally brilliant light refractions had become dull and scattered. Bubbles had collapsed to her knees, her breathing apparatus making desperate gurgling sounds as it failed to provide adequate oxygen. Her skin color had shifted from vibrant blue-green to a sickly gray-white as dehydration overwhelmed her system. She tried to signal for help but could only manage weak gestures. Stormwalker's containment suit was venting steam and sparking as electrical systems overloaded. His gaseous form had become so agitated that he was visible as a churning orange cloud within his transparent chamber. The suit's structural integrity alarms were screaming warnings about imminent containment failure. Dr. Lisa Carter, who had been observing from the gymnasium entrance, immediately rushed onto the floor with her emergency medical kit. She activated the campus-wide alien medical alert system while directing Coach Rodriguez to stop all physical activity immediately. The human students finally noticed the crisis and stepped back to give the medical team room to work. Within minutes, the gymnasium filled with medical personnel and specialized equipment designed for alien physiology. Zara 7 was carefully stabilized with molecular bonding gel to prevent further crystal fractures. Bubbles received emergency hydration treatment and supplemental oxygen through a backup breathing system. Stormwalker's containment suit was connected to external cooling and pressure regulation systems like the Human students watched in stunned silence as their alien classmates were rushed to the medical bay for emergency treatment. What they had considered a trivially easy warm-up exercise had nearly killed 3 beings from advanced alien civilizations. The implications of this incident would ripple far beyond the walls of Terra Nova University. The medical bay at Terra Nova University had been transformed into an emergency alien care facility within hours of the gymnasium incident. Dr. Lisa Carter worked alongside her team of xenobiologists to stabilize the 3 exchange students while Commander Jake Morrison fielded increasingly urgent communications from the Galactic Education Council. The incident had sent shockwaves through the galactic community, and answers were demanded immediately. Dr. Velthon arrived on the next available transport from the Galactic Medical Institute. He was considered the leading expert on interspecies physiology and had been dispatched to investigate what many council members were calling a catastrophic failure of the exchange program. As he examined the alien students, his concern grew deeper with each medical reading. Zara 7 lay on a specialized crystalline support matrix, her body still showing the spiderweb pattern of stress fractures from the jumping jacks. The molecular bonding gel had stabilized her structure, but the damage was extensive. Her people had evolved on a low-gravity world with stable atmospheric conditions, developing beautiful but fragile crystalline forms that were never intended for high-impact activities. Bubbles rested in a full-immersion water tank, her breathing apparatus replaced with direct gill interfaces that provided the constant water flow her species required. Her scales were slowly returning to their natural blue-green color as her body rehydrated, but the near-death experience had left her weakened and traumatized. Her aquatic evolution had never prepared her for the dry, high-impact environment of terrestrial exercise. Stormwalker's containment suit had been replaced with a much larger, hospital-grade atmospheric chamber that allowed his gaseous form to expand and cool properly. His essence still showed signs of the violent agitation from the gymnasium incident, with occasional flickers of unstable energy discharge. His people existed in the calm upper atmospheres of gas giants where violent movement was unknown. Dr. Velthon requested access to human exercise facilities and physiological data to understand what had gone wrong. Dr. Amy Phillips, a human researcher specializing in comparative biology, volunteered to assist with the investigation. She was curious about the aliens' apparent fragility and wanted to understand the differences between human and alien evolutionary paths. The investigation began in the university's sports medicine laboratory where human athletes regularly underwent performance testing. Dr. Velthon watched in amazement as student-athlete Ryan Cooper demonstrated basic human capabilities on various testing equipment. The reading seemed impossible according to galactic biological standards. Ryan casually lifted weights that would crush most alien species under their own mass. The force measurements showed that his legs could generate impact forces sufficient to shatter crystalline structures like Zara 7's body composition. His cardiovascular system operated at pressure levels that would rupture the delicate breathing apparatus of aquatic species like bubbles. Dr. Phillips explained that Ryan was not exceptional by human standards, just a typical college athlete who maintained basic fitness through regular exercise. She showed Dr. Velthon video recordings of human children playing on school playgrounds, demonstrating that even young humans routinely performed physical feats that would hospitalize most adult aliens. The playground videos revealed activities that Dr. Velthon initially refused to believe were recreational. Human children jumped from heights that would be considered dangerous falls by galactic safety standards. They ran into each other at full speed during games without serious injury. They hung from metal bars using only their arm strength, something that would dislocate the joints of most alien species. Dr. Amy Phillips pulled up historical data about Earth's environmental conditions during human evolution. The planet's gravity was nearly 3 times stronger than the galactic average for inhabited worlds. The atmospheric pressure created constant stress on developing organisms. Temperature variations ranged from levels that would freeze most alien species to heat that would cause fatal hyperthermia. The research revealed that Earth qualified as what galactic scientists termed a death world on a planet so hostile to life that most species would require advanced technology just to survive on its surface. Yet humans had not only survived but thrived in this environment, developing physical capabilities that seemed Impossible by normal biological standards, Dr. Velthon studied human skeletal structure and discovered bone density levels that exceeded military-grade armor plating on some worlds. Human muscle fiber composition showed redundant systems and remarkable regenerative properties. The cardiovascular system operated at pressures and flow rates that would be mechanically impossible for most alien physiologies. The investigation expanded to include human recreational activities that the aliens had initially dismissed as primitive entertainment. Dr. Phillips showed footage of humans participating in marathon running events where individuals would move continuously for hours across distances that would require motorized transport. For most alien species, mountain climbing videos demonstrated humans ascending vertical rock faces, using only their natural grip strength and balance abilities. The oxygen deprivation at high altitudes would render most aliens unconscious within minutes. Yet humans continued functioning and even thrived in these conditions with minimal technological assistance. Contact sports footage horrified Dr. Velthon as he watched humans deliberately colliding with each other at high speeds for entertainment. American football, rugby, and ice hockey showed impacts that would be classified as industrial accidents on most civilized worlds. Yet human participants continued playing after brief medical attention. The most shocking discovery came when Dr. Phillips explained human healing rates. Injuries that would require weeks of advanced medical treatment for alien species typically healed within days for humans through natural biological processes. Broken bones, torn muscles, and damaged organs regenerated at rates that seemed to violate basic biological principles. Dr. Velthon realized that the gymnasium incident was not a failure of the exercise program but a fundamental misunderstanding of human capabilities. What humans considered gentle warm-up exercises were actually extreme physical stress tests that would challenge the most advanced alien athletes using performance-enhancing technology. The research data painted a picture of humanity that completely contradicted galactic assumptions. These were not primitive beings struggling with basic technology, but apex predators whose casual daily activities would be considered extreme survival challenges by most civilized species. Their technology appeared basic because they did not require advanced assistance for tasks that other species found impossible. Coach Danny Rodriguez was interviewed about his training philosophy and exercise selection. He explained that the jumping jacks and light jogging routine was designed for human elementary school children and represented the absolute minimum level of physical activity needed to maintain basic health. More advanced human exercise routines would involve weights, distance running, and impact training that he now realized would be lethal to most alien visitors. The implications of the investigation spread rapidly through galactic communication networks. Humanity's application for membership in the Galactic Council had been pending review based on their technological development level, but the new biological data forced a complete reassessment of human capabilities and potential contributions to galactic civilization. Dr. Velthon compiled his findings into a comprehensive report that would reshape galactic understanding of human evolution and capabilities. The title, Deathworld Survivors, a study in extreme biological adaptation, became required reading across multiple star systems as alien governments struggled to understand what they had encountered on the third planet of the Sol system. Recovery took 3 weeks before the alien exchange students were cleared to return to modified classes. The medical bay had become a second home to Zara 7, Bubbles, and Stormwalker, as they slowly adapted to the reality of attending university on a death world. Their respective governments had provided advanced life support equipment specifically designed for surviving in Earth's hostile environment. Zara 7 now wore a sophisticated exoskeleton that absorbed and distributed physical impacts across her crystalline structure. The device looked like intricate metallic lacework that covered her entire body, with shock-absorbing gel pads at critical stress points. Even with this protection, she moved with careful, measured steps, acutely aware of how fragile her form was in this high-gravity environment. Bubbles had received a completely redesigned atmospheric suit that maintained proper humidity levels and provided constant hydration through microspray systems. The new equipment was bulkier than her original breathing apparatus, but included emergency water reserves and backup life support systems. She could now spend extended periods in dry environments without risking dehydration-induced collapse. Stormwalker's containment suit had been upgraded to military-grade specifications with enhanced cooling systems and pressure regulation capabilities. The new unit could handle sudden movements and environmental changes without threatening his gaseous form's stability. Multiple backup systems ensured that equipment failure would not result in his dispersal into the atmosphere. Dr. Lisa Carter had worked with Coach Danny Rodriguez to develop modified exercise protocols for the alien students. The new program used variable gravity chambers, specialized atmospheric controls, and impact-dampening surfaces to create a safe training environment. Even with these modifications, the exercises remained challenging for beings whose evolution had never required such physical resilience. The human students had volunteered to serve as patient tutors for their recovering classmates. Ben Foster, a geology major, worked with Zara 7 to help her understand how to move safely in high-gravity conditions. His gentle approach and geological knowledge of crystal structures helped build trust between the species. Katie Williams, a marine biology student, assisted Bubbles with adapting to terrestrial movement patterns. Her understanding of aquatic physiology and patient encouragement helped the Narration student gradually build confidence in land-based activities. The friendship that developed between them bridged the gap between aquatic and terrestrial worldviews. Several human students took turns helping Stormwalker understand the physics of solid matter interaction. His people had never needed to consider concepts like friction, weight distribution, or impact absorption, making every aspect of physical existence on Earth a learning experience that required both scientific understanding and practical application. The modified exercise sessions began with activities that most human toddlers could perform effortlessly. Simple walking patterns, basic balance exercises, and gentle stretching movements that required no impact or sudden direction changes. Even these elementary activities pushed the alien students to their physiological limits despite their advanced protective equipment. During one memorable session, Coach Rodriguez attempted to explain the concept of recreational running to Stormwalker. The idea that humans voluntarily engaged in sustained high-speed movement for entertainment, rather than survival, struck the gaseous being as evidence of either supreme confidence or collective insanity among the human species. Zara 7 experienced her first major breakthrough when she successfully completed a modified jumping jack routine using shock-absorbing platforms and reduced gravity settings. The achievement that would barely register as exercise for a human child represented weeks of careful conditioning and technological assistance for her crystalline physiology. Bubbles made progress in understanding human endurance capabilities when Katie showed her video footage of Olympic swimming competitions. The Narration student had assumed her aquatic heritage would make her superior in water-based activities, but human swimmers moved through water with speed and efficiency that matched her species' natural abilities, despite lacking gills or hydrodynamic body shapes. The alien students began to grasp the true scope of human physical capabilities during a campus tour that included the university's recreational facilities. The rock climbing wall, weight training equipment, and martial arts studios revealed activities that humans pursued voluntarily for personal satisfaction rather than survival necessity. Stormwalker observed human students casually lifting barbells loaded with more mass than most alien spacecraft components. The ease with which they manipulated these crushing weights while maintaining casual conversations suggested that such strength was considered normal rather than exceptional among their species. The revelation that human children played games involving deliberate physical contact shocked all three alien students. Playground videos showing tag, wrestling, and contact sports demonstrated that human offspring regularly engaged in activities that would require emergency medical intervention for most adult aliens, even with protective equipment. Dr. Velthon's research findings had been published throughout the galactic community, causing significant political and social upheaval. Multiple star systems had requested immediate reassessment of their diplomatic relationships with Earth, and several alien governments had classified human physical capabilities as potential military threats, requiring careful monitoring. The alien exchange students found themselves serving as unofficial ambassadors, providing first-hand accounts of human behavior and capabilities to their respective governments. Their reports described a species that combined advanced technology with biological capabilities that bordered on supernatural by galactic standards. Zara 7 transmitted detailed analyses of human bone structure and muscle density to Zephyrian scientists, who initially refused to believe the data. The concept that organic beings could naturally develop structural integrity exceeding their best. Crystal engineering seemed impossible until confirmed by multiple independent sources. Bubbles reported on human cardiovascular efficiency and respiratory adaptability to Narration researchers studying extreme environment survival. Her descriptions of humans functioning normally at various altitudes and atmospheric pressures challenged fundamental assumptions about biological limitations in hostile environments. Stormwalker's communications to Vortakian energy research institutes focused on human neural processing capabilities under physical stress. His people had never encountered beings whose cognitive functions remained stable while experiencing the violent physical forces that humans considered routine exercise. The academic semester continued with gradually increasing physical challenges as the alien students slowly built tolerance for Earth's environment. Their human classmates provided constant encouragement and assistance, treating the aliens' struggles with patience and understanding rather than superiority or condescension. Professor Kevin Blake documented the cultural exchange aspects of the program, noting how both human and alien students had gained new perspectives on strength, adaptation, and the diverse paths that evolution could take. The initial assumption that technological advancement indicated superiority had been replaced by appreciation for different survival strategies and biological solutions. The friendship bonds formed between species during this adaptation period proved stronger than those typically developed through purely academic interactions. Shared struggle and mutual support created understanding that transcended the vast differences in physiology and evolutionary background that had initially seemed insurmountable. By the end of the month, the alien students had achieved modest but significant progress in basic physical conditioning. They could walk across campus without assistance, participate in modified exercise routines, and even engage in gentle recreational activities designed specifically for their physiological limitations and safety requirements. The end-of-semester graduation ceremony took place in Terra Nova University's largest auditorium, with representatives from dozens of alien worlds in attendance. The initial disaster had transformed into an unexpected success story that was reshaping galactic understanding of human capabilities and the nature of strength itself. Cameras from across the galaxy recorded every moment as the first alien exchange students prepared to complete their Earth education. Zara 7 stood at the podium wearing her protective exoskeleton, which had become as much a part of her identity as her crystalline form. Over the past months, she had learned to move with confidence despite the constant awareness of her fragility in Earth's environment. Her speech began with words that would be quoted across the galaxy for generations to come. She spoke about arriving on Earth with assumptions about human primitiveness based on their seemingly basic technology and simple social structures. Her people had viewed humans as barely civilized beings who had stumbled into space travel through luck, rather than true advancement. The gymnasium incident had shattered those assumptions more completely than the jumping jacks had fractured. Her crystal matrix, the Zephyrian student, explained how humans had taught her that true strength was not about avoiding challenges, but about facing them repeatedly until adaptation occurred. Her people had spent millennia perfecting their crystal cities and peaceful existence, but they had never developed the resilience that came from constant struggle against hostile environments. Zara 7 described watching human children play games that would terrify adult Zephyrians, engaging in physical activities that required protective equipment for her species to attempt safely. She had learned that what humans called playground equipment was actually training, devices that prepared their young for survival in one of the galaxy's most challenging environments. Bubbles approached the podium with fluid grace, her upgraded atmospheric suit gleaming under the auditorium lights. Her time on Earth had taught her that adaptation required more than technological solutions. It demanded fundamental changes in perspective and approach to challenges that seemed impossible. She shared her discovery that humans had evolved in an environment so hostile that her people's oceanic homeworld would seem like a luxury resort by comparison. The revelation that Earth's surface was mostly covered by water, yet humans had chosen to make their primary habitat on the deadly dry land areas, demonstrated a level of determination that her aquatic species had never needed to develop. The Narration student explained how her human classmates had shown patience and kindness during her recovery and adaptation period. Despite possessing physical capabilities that could easily harm her fragile form, they had consistently demonstrated gentleness and consideration that revealed the depth of human character beyond their intimidating biological specifications. Bubbles described learning that human recreational swimming involved deliberately challenging themselves against water, conditions that would be considered natural disasters on her homeworld. Their concept of fun included activities that her people would classify as extreme survival situations requiring emergency response teams and advanced medical support. Stormwalker floated to the podium in his enhanced containment suit, the electromagnetic fields creating subtle light patterns as he moved. His perspective as a gaseous being had provided unique insights into human physical capabilities that solid matter species could not fully appreciate. He explained that his people existed as pure energy patterns in stable, atmospheric conditions where violent movement was unknown. Watching humans deliberately engage in high-impact activities for personal satisfaction had initially seemed like evidence of species-wide mental instability, but he had come to understand it as evidence of remarkable confidence and resilience. The Vortakian student shared his amazement at discovering that human athletes voluntarily subjected themselves to training regimens that would be considered torture by galactic standards. Their casual attitude toward physical stress and injury recovery demonstrated adaptation capabilities that challenged fundamental assumptions about biological limitations. Stormwalker described observing human children learning to walk, run, and play despite experiencing falls and impacts that would disperse his gaseous form permanently. The realization that humans considered such experiences normal childhood development rather than traumatic accidents had forced him to reconsider everything his people believed about the nature of existence and survival. Commander Jake Morrison took the stage to address the broader implications of the exchange program. The initial goals had focused on cultural exchange and academic collaboration, but the results had exceeded all expectations by revealing fundamental truths about human nature and capabilities that even humans themselves had not fully recognized. He announced that the program would continue with expanded safety protocols and modified environments that allowed alien students to participate without risking their lives. The gymnasium had been rebuilt with variable gravity zones, atmospheric controls, and impact dampening surfaces that could accommodate beings from low gravity, stable environment worlds. Dr. Lisa Carter presented medical research findings that had emerged from treating and monitoring the alien students. Her data on comparative physiology had contributed to breakthrough discoveries in both human and alien medicine, leading to new treatment protocols and a better understanding of evolutionary adaptation strategies. The ceremony included a presentation by Dr. Vel Thon, whose research had become required reading at universities across the galaxy. His paper on human death world adaptation had sparked scientific revolution in multiple fields, from evolutionary biology to military strategy development among alien civilizations. Coach Danny Rodriguez received recognition for his role in developing modified exercise programs that allowed safe interaction between human and alien physiology. His training manual, Introductory Conditioning for Death World Visitors, had become a bestseller on multiple worlds, though it was banned in several star systems as too extreme for their populations. The human students who had served as tutors and friends to the alien visitors were honored for their patience and cultural sensitivity. Their willingness to adjust their natural movements and activities to accommodate fragile classmates had demonstrated the compassionate side of human nature that balanced their intimidating physical capabilities. New alien students arrived for the next semester wearing advanced protective equipment and realistic expectations about Earth's challenges. The orientation process now included extensive briefings on human physical capabilities and the hostile nature of the planet's environment, ensuring that future participants would be properly prepared for the experience. The graduation ceremony concluded with a group photo that would become an iconic image throughout the galaxy. Human and alien students stood together, representing successful cooperation between species despite vast differences in evolutionary background and physical capabilities. The protective equipment worn by the aliens served as a visible reminder of the challenges overcome through determination and mutual support. As the ceremony ended, Zara 7, Bubbles, and Stormwalker prepared to return to their homeworlds as ambassadors of a new understanding. They carried with them not only academic knowledge but profound appreciation for the strength that comes from facing seemingly impossible challenges with determination and hope. The exchange program had achieved something greater than cultural understanding. It had revealed that true advancement was not measured by the sophistication of technology or the comfort of living conditions, but by the resilience to thrive in the face of adversity and the wisdom to help others do the same.